Morning, everybody. This is Cowboy, and Cowboy needs to share his screen. Ha! Forget what I mean. Hate when I do that. Supposed to have the screen ready to go. Apparently, the audience attention span is very, very short. So if I don't have my screen shared, I lose viewers. All right, here we go. Well, what we're looking at now on the screen is a great trade that I took yesterday. And I did think Bitcoin would make a run at 70K, and it did. Made a run at it, didn't quite make it. And you had a typical top formation, right? So I took this yesterday, and I shared the trade with Algo Factory. And you can see at the top here, price came up, got pushed back down, came back up, made a lower high. And that's a typical top formation. So, those of us using, say, just pure price action in our trading can always look at that as, okay, well, price couldn't quite make it up to where it was before. That might mean that the move up is done. And my actual indicator, my own algo that I built, let's move this to the back here. Give me 1 second. Let's do that again. So I can, interesting. There we go. My own algo that I built, you can see where it says exit logs. It's kind of a small print there, but it is there. And that's where I got out basically. So beautiful exit. Now I sold half and I kept the rest of it on, and I put the stop loss right at entry. And as you can see, price came down and hit that, but I'm on an exchange that doesn't match this price. And miraculously, I was still in this trade. So I went ahead and stayed in it just because by the time I saw that it hit this, it had already bounced back up. And I ended up exiting out a little in this area, just adding a little bit more out of the win, but knowing that the rest of the algos said, okay, it's time to get out. So that's what I did. That's a great trade. That's awesome. That's what we do here. And again, I did share that with the AF crew. So anybody who was watching got to experience that, right? Now, I'm not saying to take the trades that I take. That's not what we do here. We're not a signal service, but I do share my trades, and technically I can't stop anybody from taking them. So, you're not supposed to do it though. Don't do it. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and stick with Bitcoin, jump out to a higher time frame, and we'll take a look at what's going on with the price, because right now it's at a bit of a delicate spot. We have as I've been kind of saying here, this is the daily chart. As I've been continuing to post my little areas that I'm looking at, where I'm kind of, bullish, a little more bullish, etc., are these resistances. And there is what is now a support. Price might have to dive down and grab some liquidity, because the algos are showing that they're a little bit tired, but they're not that tired. But they're a little bit tired. As these consolidations continue, right? And this up and down, basically sideways price, that's a consolidation. And as these continue, you get less and less volatility, because if they weren't continuing, you would be seeing more volatility. Now, arguably, if you look at this kind of as a bull flag scenario, it's actually kind of breaking out, right? And that's reasonable. One could say this is a breakout. Now, if this were a typical classic bull flag breakout, price might come down to grab liquidity at the most recent pivot point. And the most recent pivot point is right here. Now, I told a lot of people last week, as soon as price broke out of this prior resistance, now support, that this might be the beginning of the move up towards the all-time high. Doesn't mean it's going to go in a straight line. Might have to come back down and grab, like I said, some liquidity, and it would be making a lot of sense to do so at about 66,500. So a good possible move for this is going to be like this. We'll move down and then head up. That could happen. It's a very likely scenario. Of course, it could continue back down into the flag, could be a breakout, fake out. It could not even go down to that level. It could, just grab a little liquidity somewhere in this area. It doesn't have to go down to that area that I said it would. That's just the most likely place for it to go, right? Just based on price action and the way things usually work. I mean, this is a badass extension. This move up starting in, let me see, 10th October. Let's measure what this was. From 58.9, below our 60,000 magic number, up to 69.5, really. That's a 20% move. and that is a 20% move in 11 days. That's killer. In any market, 20% is great. And the rest of the crypto market moved along with it. So for those of you who are in the crypto Bitcoin world, this is great. And again, I do think that we are looking at this right here. Just a move down to this support right there and a pop up. And we'll see about it. Again, I have some of the algorithms on the higher time frame that like what's going on. The trick, though, is whether or not this algo on the daily is gonna want to cooperate, and that's all based on price action. I mean, all this algo stuff in the bottom, all these indicators here are just all based on the price action. So it's really going to depend, as everything does, on the market participants. And the indicators do lag. So whatever's going to happen on the indicators happens first on price action. So price action traders do tend to be at the front of everything. Indicators are great on a higher time frame to help us see what's going on, and they're great on a lower time frame to kind of give us a little bit of more confidence. Let's use the term confirmation. It's not my favorite word in trading, but that's how that works. So anyway, let's move on. Let's go into the Forex charts. And actually, you know what? Before we get that far, now I did do the video update yesterday. So if you take a look at the video update, we talk about all the things going on in the market, and none of it's going on today. And tomorrow you just have the British pound news at 7:25 a.m. Mountain, which is 9:25 a.m. East Coast EST. And then you have some Canadian news around about the same time on Wednesday. A little more Canadian news after that. A lot of British pound news. Now, the British pound news is going to be pretty substantial. Governor Bailey speaks twice. So if you're trading the pound on Tuesday or Wednesday, I would be very careful around those times. And then Thursday was when you start to see more of the all the PMIs come out for the major European centers of commerce, if you will, and for the U.S. as well. So Thursday through the European session into the early, kind of prior to the open, or just I should say, about 45 minutes before the open, you'll see some action here. And then Thursday should be a nice day to trade once this volatility is absorbed and controlled a little bit more by the price action. So just a quick look at this week. It's kind of a nice week to trade as long as there's volatility. What might happen, because there's not a lot of news, I mean, there is for a certain token, they're tokens, oh my lord, there is for certain currencies, right? So if you're trading Forex specifically, you should see some action all week, just probably trading more on the European session, the London Open, things like that. But you will see about it. We'll see how things go, because we're heading into the election. And as we head into the election, we might be getting some headline risk, October surprise, so on and so forth. October has about 10 days yet left in it. And therefore, we do have 10 days yet left for an October surprise. But you never know. Might be November surprise. We are heading into the election. Things are getting a little bit dicey. Any predictions, any forecast I make, none of it's investment advice anyway. And any of those can get knocked out pretty heavily. But just to kind of extend from what we talked about yesterday to kind of move forward in the charts here, on the euro, you got price extending all the way down here. This big move that's relatively uninterrupted, this big impulse. What might happen? I think one of two things are going to happen. You're either going to see price develop a range, possibly down in this area, it looks like, or it might be a bit more of an encompassing range, which, I'd look on a lower time frame for all that. But eventually, I think price is going to break upwards and make its way up to here. This 302. It makes sense because if you look at the price action, and this is on the daily chart, this is high time frame. If you look at the price action, you can see that there was a blip here where price kind of went back and forth right about here, these two candles. So price is going to be attracted to that, right? And when it does, it'll go there, and it might continue up. It might bounce back down, but either way, having this basic idea that it might go there is pretty strong, and it would need to break out to do that. It might break downside, and we have a whole different scenario, and it's going to have to get past this 1.10787 support right there. So just a quick look at the Forex market as well. If you want to see more, if you want to make chart requests, if you want to ask for specific charts, head over to algofactory.tech. Right? What we do over there is we help people become traders. We help people build their own trading algorithm. And when we say algorithm, we don't mean that you have to know how to code or anything like that. Any successful trader is using an algorithm, even if it's like an old school trader using paper. They're just using a process by which they trade, otherwise known as an algo. right? So we teach people how to do that. We teach people how to treat trading like a business, and we teach people how to be serious traders, trade like a hedge fund pro. So come on over to algofactory.tech, and do not forget,
join us or die.